All right, we're going to try and tackle a question that sounds so simple, but is just notoriously impossible to answer. And that is, what is love? I mean, for real, what is it?
You see, right away we run into problems. Is love an action, something you do? Is it a noun, a thing you have? Or is it something way bigger, like some kind of universal truth that connects all of us, an ideal we're all just chasing?
The possibilities just keep coming. I mean, is love like a cult you join? Or is it something much more clinical, Just a predictable neurological thing happening inside our brains? Yeah, there is no shortage of answers.
So let's start right there. Why is this question so hard to answer? Why is it so difficult to just pin down one single definition for something that feels so human?
Well, for starters, one problem is that we usually try to define love by comparing it to other things. Love is all you need. Love conquers all. And okay, sure, we can all agree that love is probably more important than, say, a turkey sandwich. But is it? More important than shelter? What about your own sanity? See, no matter how you answer that, you're not defining what love is. You're just ranking it.
And here's another huge problem. We always try to define love while we're smack in the middle of it, falling in love, falling out of love, fighting for it. I mean, think about it. Asking someone who is head over heels in love to define love, that's kind of like asking someone who just won the lottery to give you a calm, objective definition of currency. Their perspective is going to be a little biased.
Or to make it even more ridiculous, trying to define love when you're heartbroken, that's like asking someone to define what a bear is while they are actively being chased by one. You just can't get an objective answer in the heat of the moment. It's impossible.
All right, so let's dig into the two most common answers people give. The usual suspects, feelings and actions. Let's see if either of them actually holds up.
So, the first big theory is pretty simple. Love is a feeling, right? It's that magical, all-consuming emotion, that connection you've never felt for anyone else. Seems pretty straightforward.
But here's the thing. Feelings, they change. Day to day, sometimes minute to minute. And let's be real, sometimes you might even hate the person you love for a minute there. Plus, you've probably felt powerful, similar feelings for your family, and that totally shapes how you experience romantic love later. So defining it as a feeling is like building a house on quicksand. It's just too unstable.
Okay. So, if it's not just a feeling, maybe love is a set of actions. The stuff we do. Holding hands, kissing, dating, marriage, having a family. These are the concrete things we can point to.
Yeah, this one falls apart pretty fast too. All of those actions are completely subjective. They totally depend on your culture. Not everyone wants to get married or can have kids. Some people don't date at all. So if love is this one definable thing, how can it mean completely opposite things to different people all over the world? It doesn't work.
So, if feelings and actions aren't getting us anywhere, let's switch gears. Let's get scientific. What if love is literally all in your head?
Okay, so here's a pretty wild idea from neuroscience. What if love is basically an addiction? And I don't mean that in some cheesy, I'm addicted to you pop song kind of way. I mean a real chemical process happening in your brain.
So how would that even work? Well, it's a pretty clear cycle. Step 1. A certain person stimulates the reward chemicals in your brain. Step 2. A habit develops around that person. Step 3. Being with them actually satisfies a real physiological craving. And of course, step 4, you want more.
But even the addiction model has some serious holes. I mean, what happens when people fall out of love? Did their brain just build up a tolerance? Did they hit some kind of limit? And it definitely doesn't explain why some people stay addicted to each other for an entire lifetime. So it's not the whole story.
Which brings us to another scientific angle. Maybe we need to zoom out, way out, from our own brains to the entire human species. Maybe love is just a biological blueprint.
So let's compare these two ideas. On one side, you've got love as a personal, chemical addiction, all about craving and neurological rewards. But on the other side, you've got love as a biological tool. In this view, all those intense feelings are just clever tricks to make sure we pair up, mate, and, well, replicate our DNA.
And that leads to a pretty chilling thought, right? That deep, profound feeling you think is coming from your soul, it might just be biology's most effective tool to get you to continue the species. Nature basically selected for us to have crushes the same way it makes monkeys have crushes, all to keep the big evolutionary show on the road. Okay, so we've looked at comparisons, feelings, actions, brain chemistry, and biology, and we're still kind of empty-handed. Which brings us to our final section, and maybe, just maybe, a real revelation.
And here it is. This is the big idea. What if the whole reason we can't define love is because it isn't a thing out there waiting to be discovered, like a planet or a chemical element? What if love is a construct, something that each and every one of us builds for ourselves? Now, construct doesn't mean it's fake or imaginary. It means it's built out of very real ingredients. We each take the raw materials of our lives, our past experiences, our messy feelings, our unique brain chemistry, the culture we live in, and we build our own personal version of love from the ground up.
And that kind of leads to a really beautiful final thought. If no two people are exactly the same, then no two loves can ever be exactly the same. The fact that we can't nail down one single universal definition, that's not a failure. It's actually a really good sign. It means love isn't some finished product on a shelf. It's something we are all right now actively creating and building every single day. And really, what could possibly be more real than that?